Yo, 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 it's Luke Miller here from potentialforchange.com and truththeory.com. Big massive thank you for coming along to watch this video. Today I want to talk about duality and you know, the importance of duality and what it actually means. You know, I think I've touched on this before, you know, and you can touch on it from many different angles. So when I start talking about it, it just kind of you know, unfolds in different ways. And you know, it's been a long journey, like a good few years of trying to understand what duality actually is, from the birth of the word duality and thinking, what is that? You know, it kind of makes sense that there's these two ends of a spectrum. I'm not really too sure exactly what it is, and actually understanding that and how it the relationship it has with like singularity, and you know, what the difference is and why it's significant. And I think ultimately it's significant because that is our reality. Our reality is duality. Let me explain what duality is first, so just in case you don't know. Duality is two ends of a spectrum. So there's the few examples that you probably know of is like yin and yang. You know, that's a duality. Light and dark, hot and cold. You know, these things like masculine and feminine. These are all different types of duality, and there's also like different expressions of duality. You know, like rhythm, like two ends of the pole. You know, of rhythm and movement. You know, you have this fast erratic movement and this slow steady rhythm. You know, vibration is like, you know, low vibration and high vibration, and trying to think of some other things. Like good and evil is like an example, although like, is good and evil, does it actually exist? I don't know. You know, like it's we're all just like expressions of our reality that we've lived within. So is there a good and evil? Yeah, there's obviously really bad things that people do, and there's really like saintly things that people do, but you know, everyone's just living out the same experience that most people would live out given their circumstances. So if you put yourself into their shoes, if you look at it in an actual compassionate way, which is very hard to do for like a serial killer or whatever, you know, but if you look at them and you was born in their body with their mind and experience their experience, because most people have experienced like extreme trauma, then you would probably be doing exactly the same thing, or you would be doing exactly the same thing. So yeah, it's debatable whether good or evil is actually a real thing or just like an invented kind of concept that we've made up. But that's beside the point of the whole duality thing. It's so why is duality so important to understand, and how do you transcend duality, and what is transcendence of duality? So let me start on why duality is important, because everything in the physical world is dual in some way, and some things are very obvious, like hot and cold, you know, light and dark, and you know, some of the examples that I've said. But some things are less like obvious, you know, like for example this wood, you know, this glass, like I don't know what the opposing force to that is, but that's what alchemy is. You know, alchemy is where you take a substance or a thing, or that could even be the end of an alchemical process, because I think glass comes from sand, and you know, so I don't know exactly, but it's like you create an opposing force within something by understanding its, or you create reaction within something by understanding its opposing force, or the opposing force that changes that substance, you know. So everything is dual in nature, you know, like disease is a perfect example, you know, like he said, dis-ease in the body, you know, you have this, and to fix this dis-ease is to understand its counterpart, you know, like, so that's why we change our diet, because we're the issue is with our lifestyle, you know, and the opposing force is to change the lifestyle, you know. So when you start to look at everything is this kind of complex dual world, and to what's good about this world, right? So this is the transcendence. This is how you like transcend duality, is by understanding this. If you understand that there's no like difference between love and hate, then the hate that you feel for someone can be transcended with love. Like it's you can love that hatred out of yourself. And I mean I always talk about love and fear. That seems to be like the ultimate duality of how you attract things in your life, through love or through fear. But not love like attraction, love like an unconditional love, like an understanding the full range of human emotions, and loving unconditionally, which is like a love that radiates to every single person. If you can live in that space, over the fear space, which is like a misunderstanding of people, and a kind of like a judgmental kind of picky at people and all that kind of stuff. If you can live there, then you can really kind of transcend the duality of fear, like fear and love. But it's the same with like emotions and feelings and everything. And don't get me wrong when I'm talking about this. This is not like an overnight fix. It's not like I'm sad, so I'm just going to be happy and smile. Like it doesn't really work like that. But understanding that happiness and sadness is the same thing at a different end of the spectrum gives you allows you to love the sadness inside yourself. So it's like love is the tool, like to transcend duality, because you feel the happiness and the sadness, and instead of hating the sadness, because that's where the problems come from. It's like you're sad and it's like, oh, why am I feeling so sad? What's going on? Why is my life such a mess? Blah 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 blah. And you start running things over and over and over and over in your head, and then it becomes a mess. It becomes tangled. It becomes like ingrained, and like it's like everything has roots. Like these ideas within you have roots, and all of a sudden it's deep within you, and it's hard to untangle. But with the understanding, at least you can start to imagine and untangle it. So so I think transcending duality is by understanding that while everything is dual, it's also singular at the same time. It's one thing, like the two ends of the spectrum are actually one thing. And my experience with experiencing life in a singular kind of motion, because it's weird how what I'm saying is quite confusing, that there's the duality and the and then singularity, and saying it's kind of the same thing. Like, so it is a little bit confusing, but ultimately there is duality, and but there's space where you experience this like singular feeling where there's no time, no space, no it's just almost like nothingness, but a lot of the time it's in like geometric patterns and all that kind of stuff, and these spaces can be reached through a lot of like spiritual practice and stuff. Like I feel like the spiritual realm is a singular realm, that time is not the same there, so there's the illusory nature of this dimension that we're in now, because it's very illusory, like it's a projection of our consciousness. Because if you think if our minds didn't exist, none of this stuff would exist, right? It's like it is here, it's born of our minds, like these like in multiple senses, like these things here, all this stuff around here, it is someone thought this idea, like, I'm going to make this bed, I'm going to raise this thing off the floor, and like so no one has to sleep on the floor, and I'm going to, that's a construct, it's a construct of a mind, and everything is in like that's been made is a construct of the mind. But at the same time, the physical world is also a construct of the mind, because it's the mind projecting. So without the mind, it's a bit like the thing where they say, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound? It's the same thing, right? It's a bit of a riddle, but if your mind doesn't exist, does the reality exist? So that's the illusion, right? That's and it's like held together with time and all this kind of stuff, But as I said, when you transcend that through certain spiritual experiences, psychedelic experiences, other kind of experiences, you really understand the singularity, and it allows you to see the duality in this world, and it allows you to see that as a singularity. So kind of allows you to step over it and know what it is, and know the opposing forces, and really kind of make the magic happen. So much peace and love. That's enough for this video. I hope whatever you're doing today, you enjoy it, man. Because why not? It's a beautiful world. We live in a beautiful world with beautiful people, and love conquers all. So I will speak to you very, very soon. Check me out on potentialchange.com for my free ebook. Subscribe to this video, please, to my channel, YouTube, and check me out on truththeory.com for my writing. Plus, I'm writing a book. There'll be information about that below, but some of these ideas will be in there, and man, I'd love to make this thing a reality, and with your help anything's possible. So much support and love is appreciated. I love you lots, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Peace.